Hey everyone, welcome back to the iConis podcast. And once again, we're having some inner thoughts and we're going to be talking about breaking news, Lobo. All right, everyone, you probably heard the news right now. And if you haven't, it's been all over the internet. So it's coming about that Lobo will be making his appearance in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. That's the James Gunn project that's be coming out later on this year. I know all the eyes are on Superman, but Supergirl is coming out. Now, why are we talking about Supergirl? Because Lobo will be making an appearance in the Supergirl movie. Now, not going to be a very big role. It's not going to be a smaller role, but at least some decent screen time. And the biggest thing is it's finally cast properly, in my opinion. It's Jason Momoa said he got the call to play Lobo. So Jason Momoa on his Instagram page turned around and he wrote a post, maybe a couple of months back saying if he ever got the call, he'd be excited to do it, yada, 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 yada. But he wasn't trying to get into the rumors or anything like that. He just said that's what he put out there. And then he put up his comment, and underneath it, he just wrote, they called. Fans exploded. James Gunn confirmed that, yes, he did reach out to Jason Momoa to play Lobo live action. So this is the second time we're getting a live action Lobo. The first time we got a live action Lobo was back in this not even miniseries, but the series Krypton that was running, and it only ran for one season, unfortunately. And by the end of that, or 2 seasons, and by the end of this, by the end of that run, it introduced General Zod, introduced Lobo, it introduced Doomsday, it introduced Thanagarians, the Rand, it was set up so beautifully for a 3rd season, but we only had a small kind of appearance of Lobo for what this character is worth. So let's go back to a couple of things. Lobo made his first appearance in June of 1983 in Omega Man issue number 3. Whoo! Back then, of course, he had the space bike, but he had a different look on him. He had a yellow and purple costume, a pair of tights. He was a little bit slimmer character. His hair was more neat, but he was still a bounty hunter back then. And that's where he made his first appearance. Now, of course, he had his run, and then the writers didn't know what to do with him after this, back in the 80s, so to speak. So he kind of went into limbo, and then he came back. So keep in mind that this character was created by Roger, and I'm looking at my notes here, Roger Slitter and Keith Giffen. So Keith did a lot of stuff with Justice League. He did the Heckler, other characters, and then of course he brought in Lobo, and this is where they created him and said that first appearance. Of course, Lobo went into limbo, and then he came back and he was redone with a new look by Simon Bisley. So Simon was very known. If you know his art, he's drawn a lot of Judge Dredd. I'm having tongue twisting today. Judge Dredd, and he gave that character that look, that gritty look. It was a very grim dystopian future that he wrote for that character. And he went, and of course, Simon himself being a biker and looking at that, he kind of put more of a biker spin onto Lobo than what we were used to before. So Lobo is supposed to be supposedly the last survivor from his planet, but there's been a couple of others that survived, like his teacher. There's a whole mini series on that is interesting to read. And he gave him the messy hair, the beard, cigar, a lot of self-indulgent, self-pleasures. This is what Lobo's all about. And then the only time you see Lobo mellow out, he does bounty hunting, and a couple of things he does. He never breaks his word, so he keeps his promise. Of course, he might take liberties with it, but he keeps his promise. If he's going to bring someone back, he'll bring them back. Maybe not on all one piece, but he'll bring them back to do what he needs to do to never break his promise. Then, what happens once he's completed it, after that, it's fair game. So he might bring someone back and then say, hey, here's a prisoner. Oh, great. Thanks a lot. And then, get rid of them. Let's just put it that way. He brought them back. They were there for 30 seconds. Why does Lobo do all the bounty hunting? Very simple, because Lobo does it for his pets, which are the space dolphins. That's the one thing that mellows him out, that he's very happy about, is his space dolphins. He takes that very seriously. So you don't disrupt them. All is good. Now, I know there's been parodies. So Lobo was kind of a, reminiscent of Wolverine, Punisher. That was done by DC. DC has parodied him. Marvel has parodied him also. Image Comics has parodied him also. But the main man, as he goes around and calls himself, is still around. He's become really popular in this violent and comedic style at the same time. So I think James Gunn being behind this for a Lobo project is great. Jason Momoa finally playing that role makes more sense to me than him playing Aquaman. And I'm not saying he did Aquaman bad. Even he was like, hey, this is the role I want, is the main man. Get me in there. And now he has it. And if you look at Jason Momoa, physically, he's got the hair, the face, the body, the tattoos, even his whole writing style. His handler on Instagram is Pride of Gypsies. He moves around a lot. He doesn't stay around. And if you look at him, he's a ragtag kind of person. If you look at his chopper that he drives around personally, Jason Momoa is Lobo, just toned down a whole lot. So that's what I'm looking for. I had to go into my archives and go back into finding all that, some of the issues that I have there, because I like the art style and I like the character himself. So what are we hoping to see from all this after everything is said and done? Are we going to get maybe a Lobo spin-off movie? Maybe depending on the success of Supergirl and his appearance and how it comes out rating. Is Jason Momoa going to do something to maybe keep the character going? And I think this would be a smart thing, because keep in mind, Hugh Jackman came in as Wolverine in the X-Men franchise. And then he took it further. He started kind of producing his own Wolverine movies because he was a fan of that genre, of that comic book, that character. I think that Jason Momoa should not wait per se, but look at interesting storylines that he could present as either a movie, one shot, something he should do, and then go and knock on James's door to say, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Take things in his own hands to keep the character going. Just as how we got, Hugh Jackman doing Wolverine for so long. This is why Ryan Reynolds finally got the redemption of doing Deadpool properly, the 3 movies, and not Wolverine Origins. We don't talk about that. So this could be another legacy character for this actor, because I don't know who else would be more suited to do him. Also, now the other side of that is, who will play Aquaman in the future? We don't know, but I do know, and I'll say this. There is a comic book that's out there. I can't remember the issue, but there's a parody comic book where Lobo is on Earth. And 2 moments. So Lobo's on Earth, and, one of his space dolphins goes to Earth, ends up getting killed by a fisherman. Lobo goes to Earth, ends up fighting Aquaman. The two of them get into a battle. Then he finds out that Aquaman at the time was raised by dolphins. Therefore, it caused a friendship between the two of them. Lobo backed off. But of course, I can't say what Lobo did on his channel to the fisherman. That's a different story. The other part of that is another comic book. Lobo's on his way to a costume party. So he dresses as Aquaman in the orange shirt, the green tights. He's got the trident and he's on his bike. King Shark jumps out and starts to attack who he thinks is Aquaman. People in the background watching is like, that's not Aquaman. Lobo's like, I'm not Aquaman. And King Shark's like, but you're dressed as him. You got the long hair. You're Aquaman. He's like, Aquaman has blonde hair. My hair is black. And the two of them start going at it, which I thought was very funny, seeing that this was before all this announcement was done, to show you that even back then, people still saw Jason Momoa more as Lobo than they did as Aquaman. So here we are. That's what's going on. Long live the main man. And remember, if you see any dolphins, please be kind to them, because the main man is watching. This is Barry 3D. Thank you very much. And I am out.